Let's make sushi donuts.
Say hello to the new favorite
This is the ultimate food.
Food porn is ruining your relationship with cooking, and you probably don't even realize it. Food has become an aesthetic, glamorous and stylized, divorced from the labor that's gone into it, devoid of meaning beyond the way it looks, distorting your perception of what a good or even acceptable meal looks like. Just like everything else we see on social media, fitness, fashion, morning routines, the food that we see online is not real. Now, there's already a lot of discourse around the way that social media creates unrealistic fitness or lifestyle expectations. But what about food? If you're daily being bombarded by inauthentic, hyper-curated, pornographic images and videos of food, how does that affect you? Does it change the way that you think or feel about cooking? I want to make the case that yes, it does, that it's not good, and to make some suggestions for what we might do about it. Now, we can credit the term food porn to feminist critic Rosalind Coward, who used that phrase to critique or admonish women's magazines in the 1970s. Now, these magazines were presenting these immaculate feasts and beautifully dressed housewives, and were completely ignoring any of the labor or logistics that had gone into presenting or creating this image that you were seeing in the magazine. And of course, the subtext of that is that if you can't do this yourself, if your dinner table doesn't look like this, if you don't look like this, there's something wrong. You're not good enough. These magazines created this impossibly high standard of food and homemaking through these pornographically titillating images, which totally ignored the costs or the context. These days, food porn is just a hashtag caption people use for really nice pictures of food. But I think the effect on us is still the same. Social media obviously incentivizes creators and users to put forward the best of their photos and videos. And then algorithms will take the best of those. And so our feeds are full of these inarguably beautiful dishes, this incredible food, because all we see is the digitally curated selection of the manually selected images that anyone chooses to put online in the first place. It's not real. It's not normal, but it feels normal. It feels real because it's all that we see. And when normal cooking becomes a private chef preparing a dinner party for a family in the Hamptons, it's no wonder people lack confidence to have their friends around for a meal. If your Pinterest board is the standard you set for yourself, of course you're going to feel like a bad cook. And I do want to give some practical advice for how we might shift this perception and change the way we think about cooking. But first, an observation. There have been a bunch of food trends online recently, which I think have arisen as a result of this insanely high expectation that we have of food. Things like girl dinner, struggle meals, cook with me as a low-income parent of three. People feel the need to create labels for these types of cooking content to acknowledge that they are distinct or different or not quite as good as normal food that you might see online. And so exceptional cooking has become normal, and normal food has become struggle meals or low-income cooking. Now, obviously, there is such a thing as struggle meals and low-income meal prep. That is a reality. But if I searched up struggle meals on TikToks right now, I don't think that's actually what we would see. All right, struggle meals up the top of TikTok.
Every chef has this pasta recipe. $1 meals, part 5.
This is the struggle meal that everybody adored growing up.
AET. You want to keep stirring until when I was living on my own, this right thing right here was
Here's another struggle meal from the Depression era.
a meal that got me through college.
The struggle meal was seasoned banana soup.
So my takeaway from that is that I think there were maybe 20 to 30% of that was genuine struggle meals. You had things like plain noodles and hot dogs, peanut butter sandwich, peanut butter jelly sandwich if you're feeling a little bougie. But a lot of that was just, in my opinion, and maybe this is completely subjective, pretty normal cooking. A chickpea stew, a chicken and chickpea stew, a chicken and broccoli pasta bake, quesadillas, Again, maybe this is subjective and maybe I'm in the minority here. I want to put forward that that's just normal cooking. That cost-effective, simple meals are not struggle meals that come under an exceptional circumstance. Maybe they are, and I don't want to speak down to anyone. But I think just because something is cheap, it doesn't have to be defined against the grain of this incredible, decadent food porn standard that we've got as a struggle meal. It can just be a cheap meal. It can just be affordable cooking. It seems to me that one of the reasons that we want to label these cheap cooking things as struggle meals is because our expectations have shifted so much. Going on to cooking TikTok, we expect things like a tomahawk steak or a whole side of salmon sashimi, not chickpeas and rice or veggies and a tortilla wrap. But that's pretty normal food in most places throughout most of history. So if it's true that food porn online is a phenomenon and that it has actually affected the way that we think about and perceive and talk about food, what do? How do we fix it? Can we fix it? I don't know, but I have 3 suggestions. First is just to realize that you're not a bad cook. Now, bad cooks do exist, but you're probably not one of them. If you can cook a couple of meals and you don't get food poisoning from them and you don't think they taste that bad, you can cook. That's cooking. That is adequate, standard, and if it tastes nice, that's good cooking. And if you don't think so, it's probably because your standards are off. Professional athletes are paid to be fit and muscular. So you shouldn't compare your fitness to theirs. Professional models are paid to dress well and look amazing. So you shouldn't compare your fashion or beauty standards to theirs. And professional chefs are paid to create a variety of delicious, beautiful meals, and you're not. So you shouldn't compare yourself to that. You shouldn't hold yourself to that standard, even if the algorithm tries to convince you otherwise. You can cook. Second is to do something with your cooking. Invite your friends over for a meal. Take that vulnerable step of sharing your cooking with other people. Food porn reduces food to an aesthetic, to an enjoyable but purely sensory experience. Food's more than that. Food is connection and hospitality. It's community, it's joy, it's memory making. It is a physiological experience. You smell it, you taste it, you look at it, but it's so much more than that. So do something with your cooking. Invite your friends over for some food. Third, learn about food. Learn about cooking. This is true of any area of expertise, but the more you know about something, the more grounded your standards and expectations are. A professional trainer who goes on TikTok is going to be able to wade through the mire of workout videos and tell you exactly which ones are good advice and which ones are complete BS. And in the same way, the more you know about food and cooking, the less likely you will be to fall prey to the pornographic effect of online food content. Now, one way you could learn about food and cooking is, and I am biased here, by subscribing to this YouTube channel. I'm Jacob. This is Dinner at Mine, where I talk about cooking food for your friends. Recipes, tips, thinky videos like this one. If any of that's of interest to you, then stick around. And let me know in the comments, is food porn really as big a deal as I'm making it out to be? Or am I blowing it out of proportion a little bit? I'm interested to hear other people's thoughts on this because I think a lot of this is subjective, but I am inclined to think that there is some truth here as well. I'm interested to hear what you've got to say. See you next time.